welcome. Out of the blue. So that was Frankie, or as we like to call him, the Great Saltini, because he likes his saltine crackers. But when I say we, I mean Jack and I. And Jack was a friend of my grandfather. My grandfather was the magician J. Marshall, and he was married to the fellow magician Francis Ireland Marshall. And they had the magic shop on the corner in Chicago, and Jack used to hang out there. And Jack has a number of pet peeves, and one of them is people who would try to overstay the closing time of the magic shop. Now, we'll get back to that in a minute, but the thing Jack and I have in common is that we're both jazz heads. And the first time we connected was when Jay McShann died. Jay McShann is a famous pianist and band leader. And I heard Jay McShann died, and my first thought was I couldn't believe Jay McShann was alive that long. Because he lived to be 90 years old. And so I told Jack, I said, Jack, I heard Jay McShann died. And he said, Jay McShann was still alive? And I said, yeah, that's what I said. But anyway, Jack used to hang out at the magic shop. And Jack was something of a minor celebrity, but a major talent. And so I'm going to introduce you to Jack. And like Jay McShann being so old, Jack is also now quite old, and it makes the facts of your life just seem like ancient history. So Jack's first wife got polio. She wasn't feeling very well one day. She went to the hospital, and she had polio, and she was paralyzed. That day, the polio progressed to the point where she was paralyzed from the neck down. She was pregnant also, and she was put in an iron lung. And she was able to go home with this thing called a Huxley breathing apparatus. And Jack was a stand-up comedian at that time. And a contemporary of his was Lenny Bruce. And Lenny Bruce came to their house and visited Betty, and was amazed by the good spirits she was in. Somebody who was paralyzed was actually fun to be around. So Betty had a baby in an iron lung. And Jack at the time was writing for Phyllis Diller, comedy writer, and Phyllis Diller wanted to kind of introduce him to a broader audience. So he had a chance at a larger slice of fame, but he couldn't take the opportunity because he had to stay home and be with his wife. And he ended up writing greeting cards for American Greeting, including Ziggy. So he had a career writing greeting cards with American Greeting and writing for Tom Wilson, who was the creator of Ziggy. Now, that's background. That's all before I knew him. When I knew him, he hung out in the shop, and we had an 80th birthday party for him. Oh, so anyway, he was also he had a jazz radio show, and he would talk about jazz and interview the top jazz guys of his day. You know, Dizzy Gillespie, Bill Evans. You know, and so. He witnessed firsthand, Jack did, the folk music craze, saw this all happening, and he saw his friends get put out of work. These talented and highly skilled jazz musicians were all getting put out of work by people standing up on a stage with a guitar and singing two songs. And the two songs, according to Jack, were Sloop John B. and Michael Row Your Boat Ashore. And he heard these songs over and over again. Also, for Jack's party, we had kind of a roast for Jack, and I put all his pet peeves together in one song to the tune of Sloop John B. So, Jack Clements is very unique. Pet peeve number 1, very unique. Irregardlessly I speak. 2, irregardlessly. When I heard he was 80, my jaw literally dropped to the floor. Pet peeve number 3, misuse of literally. ATM machine. 4, ATM machine is a redundancy. Automatic teller machine. What the heck does that mean? The magic shop closed 10 minutes ago. It's time to go home. So hoist up Jack Clements. See how mad he gets. Bring Frankie from next door. See if he's home. Oh, let them go home. Why won't they go home? The magic shop closed 10 minutes ago. It's time to go home. Jack Clements is very unique. Irregardlessly I speak. When I heard he was 80, my jaw literally dropped to the floor. Weird in the beard. How do you spell weird? This is the worst song that's ever been sung. This is the worst song that's ever been sung. So when I say weird in the beard, so that was Jack's record. And it was in 2 printings. In the first printing, they spelt weird wrong. And the second printing, they spelt it right. So what I hope to do is Jack has a massive and very deep jazz collection. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go and play a little bit of Jack's record. And in upcoming episodes, we'll talk to Jack and we'll dive into his record collection because